You are listening to the Jobbers Court Podcast, part of the W2M Network. We're a podcast for wrestling fans old and new. Court is now in session. Hello, welcome again to Jobbers Court. I am the Rasquatch King of Jobbers Court, joined, as always, by my two other panelists. We have Cedric, the Wise Old Owl of Wrestling, and the Man of 1,004 Nicknames. We are going to cover our opinion and the results of the Summerslam Network special, which just took place this past weekend. So, before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about some of the pre-show and some of the results. I mean, there's a lot of things to kind of discuss on this network special, but before we really dig into it, how are you guys doing?
Well, today was leg day at the gym for me, so today you guys can call me Hulk barely standing.
All right. I was thinking, what was I gonna say? Oh, I had something really witty and it's gone. So never mind. All right. I'm off my game. Must be late. I don't know. But Cedric, how are you?
I'm ready to fly south, man. That's all I gotta say. Maybe go to Rio, but I'm kind of afraid that I might meet Ryan Lochte. He might actually accuse me of stealing something from him. So I'll stay put.
And if that doesn't happen, there's always the Zika virus.
Yeah.
Which Ryan Lochte will probably blame me for bringing it as well, because he likes blaming people for stuff.
Well, I'm pretty sure that him and Hillary are gonna jump into some sniper fire down there. So I would be very careful. But don't mix your politics and wrestling. You don't want to do that. So
unless you're Rhino.
Yeah, true. So
just to the Ventura.
Just
constituents.
Man, maybe we should just mix it together. Hell, they seem to make good politicians.
Well, hey, there's always word that The Rock might be running for president soon. So.
That's what I heard. I think he could layeth the smacketh downeth on Iran's candy ass. But I just would like it if he was the next president, because that's who signs my retirement paperwork. But
hey, there you go.
Anyway, so.
Got The Rock's autograph.
That'd be pretty badass, honestly. I'd mark out, but all right. So, first things first, guys. We had 3 pre-show matches to cover on this 2-hour-long pre-show that they had. The first one was a 12-man tag team matchup. You guys know I hate these, but it was the American Alpha, the Hype Bros. They're so hyped. The Usos, Breezango, the Ascension, and the Vaudevillains, who all got together, had a total time of 14 minutes and 32 seconds for this match. I just want to kind of cover these quickly and just let me know what you thought of the match overall. Hawkster?
Well, I hate to admit this, but I was watching TakeOver Sunday before SummerSlam because I had some other things going on Saturday night. Cough, cough, UFC 202, cough, cough.
Yeah.
So by the time I finished TakeOver, I didn't realize that it was a 2-hour-long pre-show, and I actually missed this first match. So I apologize, but I'm pretty sure we basically saw the same thing on SmackDown with the tag team tournaments, just a little bit more split up.
You didn't go back and rewatch it?
I've been so busy this week, I haven't had a time, so I'm just going to apologize to all of my alcoholics out there. I am sorry.
As Jim Carrey says in Dumb and Dumber, you are one pathetic loser. Anyway, it was actually a pretty good match for this type of match. You guys know, 14 minutes 32 seconds. That means in a 12-man tag match, each guy barely would have gotten over a minute of some type of exposure in the ring. And that kind of stuff always makes it hard for me to really enjoy watching. Cedric, were you able to go back and check out this match for the pre-show?
Well, I did watch the pre-show. I did watch UFC 202. Was it 202 or
Yeah,
201, whatever it was,
202, yeah.
on Saturday, and then I watched it after. I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown, so thanks for letting me know about the tag team tournament. But the only thing that stands out that I remember from this match was the fact that um I kind of I am a little bit happy that they might give Ascension a little push. You know, it's kind of messed up what they did with the longest reigning NXT tag team champions. They became the laughing stock of the main roster with the whole being better than most of the original tag teams like Demolition, Legion of Doom, and some of the other ones that they were trying to make fun of. And the only thing that I remember from this match was that I really enjoy seeing the Usos have a little bit of a heel-esque turn at the end when they were going against American Alpha. I think American Alpha has potential. They're not as good as the fans want to make them sound, but American Alpha definitely shines when they have a good opponent. Yeah. And it might be nice to see the Usos finally fight somebody different in a more heel-esque fashion. So that's all I remember.
I just want to say finally and thank you, because I was just saying today that the American Alphas, they're good, but man, the crowd and the fans make it seem like they're the best tag team that's out there, and I don't know, they're good, but personally, I always felt the Revival was a much better tag team in NXT, in a lot of ways kind of carried those guys in the couple matches that they had, but who knows. But overall, like I said, wasn't a bad match. Wasn't anything terrible, so couldn't really complain too much. At least not as much as I complained about the second match, which was Sami Zayn and Neville, just because we wanted to make sure both those guys at least made it on the SummerSlam card in one way, shape, or form. They defeated the Dudley Boys in 7 minutes and 55 seconds. So I know both Sami Zayn and Neville have been in tag teams, but much like Neville and Sin Cara defeating the Dudley Boys on the previous Raw, we see two guys who we've never seen team together, kind of make the Dudley Boys look bad again. I don't know, it was upsetting, and then with everything that happened, with them on Monday and everything else, it's just, yeah, I think it just made me sad. Cedric, what'd you think of this?
I haven't watched Raw yet, but I can only imagine based on that very non-specific comment that you made. All I gotta say is, look, to see two veterans like the Dudley Boys be treated even better on TNA than they have been on this run that they've been with WWE says a lot. I think the guys, I'm not saying they had to become champions from day one, but they are the Dudley Boys. And when you have a division that is starting to rise now, but it wasn't as deep as it is now, if you gave the New Age Outlaws an opportunity to be champions again, I don't see why the Dudley Boys could not have had a nice little championship run, even if it was a short one. Mm-hmm. So having said that, seeing them start the whole angle where they're trying to split them up again, I haven't seen Raw, or I haven't finished Raw. I just don't like that angle because they have already done this before. And Neville, I like Neville. He reminds me of Evan Bourne. He kind of fills that Evan Bourne void. I really was a fan of Evan Bourne.
Sure.
But they both have a finishing move that takes a while to execute, so it doesn't look very believable when the opponent is just waiting there. And it's almost the same thing over and over again. Now Evan Bourne as his new character, amazing. And then Sami Zayn should be in individual matches going for a title, which I did see the first match on Raw, which he lost. Anyway, being tagged with Neville just to be there, I don't know. He deserved better. He deserved to be in the actual show. That's my opinion. So overall, a fight that really was just a filler, if that.
Huckster?
I actually thought the match itself was pretty awesome. If they were to go forward with Neville and Zayn as a tag team, like a legitimate tag team, and going for the belts, down the road, I would not be upset. I saw a lot of really good chemistry and a lot of real good fluidity from them, and they drive pretty well. So I was very entertained on that. Not knowing, again, what was going to happen the next night on Raw, it does kind of leave a sour taste seeing the Dudleys lose out on another pay-per-view, and just the way that they lost, with Devon running into Bubba and, having a little bit of confusion to where Sammy and Neville could pick up the victory off of that confusion. To me, it just made the 9-time champs look real bad.
Was it Devon on Bubba, or was this time Bubba on Devon?
Well, it was Bubba that ran into Devon, but it was just some kind of miscommunication where he just straight clotheslined the crap out of him, and it was just like, really, like, you guys are the most decorated tag team champions. Like, maybe they're trying to say that they've lost their edge or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I mean, these guys can still go and they can still kill it. So it had to be a booking thing to make them lose the way that they lost.
Well,
and it hurts inside a little.
I don't want to lose any listeners out there, but it was like watching the Dudley Boys if they were Alzheimer's patients, and they have just forgotten how to be a tag team, and they've forgotten how to be a cohesive group, And honestly, to me, that's what it reminded me. It's like if two guys just all of a sudden forgot how to be a tag team, and that's really what it comes down to, and that's how they've been wrestling. That's how it's been going. So
it's been going on for quite a while too. This is not recent. They've had a lot of botches. If you go maybe 6 months ago, they've had matches that I'm like, man, you guys been together for a while to be missing, like, one is going for a clothesline, the other one's going for an elbow, and you can see that, like, wait a minute, and they're actually talking to each other like, hey man, that's not the move I was gonna do. So.
All right. And then finally, the third match, we had the first match in the best of 7 series with Sheamus and Cesaro. And I'm curious what you guys had to say about this one. I guess we'll come right back to you, Cedric. What were your opinions on this one?
I gotta be honest with you, Rasquash. I watched this with my not that I lie to you, by the way. I watched this with my son, and like, we both were really impressed. Listen, Sheamus. I'm not gonna say I'm a big fan of his, but I'm not one of those haters. I think the guy has the build, the look, and definitely when he's on his A game as a heel, and not a funny heel, but a heel, he's pretty good. And Cesaro, I've liked Cesaro since he was Claudio. My first time watching him on Ring of Honor back in the day, and the guy is just incredibly strong. So, if you're gonna call him the Swiss Superman, definitely book him to look like one. And I think these two hit each other with everything. That splash or that Cesaro did from the actual post onto the rope, springing off, was amazing. And definitely, I think Sheamus and Cesaro showed off that they still have a lot to give to the WWE and the main roster. And this was a match that, for anybody who missed it because it was a pre-show, they missed one hell of a match. I can't wait to see what else they come up with, especially if the next matches have specific stipulations down the road.
Yeah, and I think they almost have to. I'm gonna be honest. In this match, I had a lot going on. I was trying to get the kids and all that ready, so I had to actually go back and watch it again later. But yeah, like you said, Sheamus wasn't a former world champion for nothing. I mean, it's not like they just looked at him one day and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to give you the belt." The guy can obviously work, and I think a best of 7 series, when it was first announced, I was a little skeptical because I was just like, do I really want to watch Sheamus and Cesaro in a best of 7? But after the first match, it was really intriguing. I was just, again, a little confused because, I mean, technically Cesaro had just beaten him twice pretty soundly. And then they're going to start this best of 7, and then Sheamus gets the win on him here in this first one. So, Hulkster, what did you think of this match?
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I thought it was a very entertaining match, and to be honest, I'm pretty actually excited to watch this best of 7. I know it kind of puts a bad taste in the mouth. Again, I hate to be the negative Nancy here, but with the turn of events with Balor, it does kind of put a bad taste in my mouth that Cesaro and Sheamus both weren't automatically put into that running for the championship, seeing as the whole purpose of the best of 7 is for a title opportunity. But yeah, if they add stipulations going forward, say like they both split a pair of regular matches, and they start getting down to the nitty gritty of who's going to come up on top, I think it'd be pretty cool to see like a submission match or a bull rope match or a chain match, whatever you want to call it. Maybe a falls count anywhere, and then I'd love to see like if they went neck and neck, 3-3, and had to go all the way to the 7th match to finish it. I would love it to be an I Quit match. I think that would be a very good match, and it would show a lot of diversity from both Sheamus and Cesaro, because we really haven't seen Cesaro really in any stipulation matches outside of like Money in the Bank or a ladder type match.
I'll tell you this: I want a old school, well, not that old school, but I want a 3 stages of hell match for that 7th match. If they go best of 7, that would be just an absolute glorious thing for me. Glorious.
What would be the 3 stages of hell for you?
It's the 3 stages of hell. Do you remember the premise of that at all?
So there's been a couple different variations. So
the one I always remember was the Triple H Shawn Michaels one, and that one went from a standard match, then it went to, what was it? I think after that it just went to, I think like a hardcore match or a Falls Count Anywhere or something like that, and then the final one was a Hell in a Cell. And so like they got done with the first 2 falls, and then that cell just dropped down on them for the 3rd fall. It was pretty epic. But
they should do something like that to kind of shorten the time frame, since it is a best of 7. Seeing 7 matches with them, spread out through I don't know how many months would be quite a lot. They should actually do something like that where 3 stages actually count as 3 matches. It kind of shortens a little bit.
That's a good idea too. I was thinking if it came down to that epic like last match, and you got to have a last man standing match. I mean, nothing ends a feud like that if you beat a guy until he physically can't stand up. Things like that they can look into the future. I think that would be pretty exciting. Overall, I didn't have too much to complain about for the pre-show. I think that outside of the fact of being a little upset about the Dudley Boys initially, everything else was good. So that's going to take us to the main card here, guys. And again, I just kind of want to know thoughts and opinions on the match, and give me just a grade scale of kind of how you felt. The opening matchup was Jericho, or as I'm still calling them, the Canadian Connection. I'm not giving up on that. And then they defeated Enzo and Big Cass. Definitely not what we expected, all 3 of us having taken Enzo and Cass to win. Strange booking decision or a brilliant turn of events? What do you guys think? Cedric?
It caught me by surprise. I'm not gonna lie to you. As high these guys have been with the fans, the Enzo and Cass, I really think they were gonna win. To be honest with you, it's one of those matches where I'm not sure where they're gonna go moving forward. Like I said, I saw the beginning of Raw, and I was surprised to see Enzo and Cass come out as 2 individuals wanting to go for the title as well. So that kind of surprised me, and it all depends what they want to do with Jericho and Kevin Owens moving forward as a tag team, because it really doesn't help Enzo and Cass to lose again, and definitely when Enzo once again seems to be the weak link. I just keep thinking that these guys are gonna get separated much sooner than most of us thought. So it was an overall okay match, nothing special. Kevin Owens amazing as always. Jericho did good as well. I love their comments while in ring. So it was a good match, and if I had to give it a grade, I would give it a C+. Not because it was that bad, but because it was just first match, nothing major, no true storyline behind it other than just that initial match.
Okay, Huckster.
Yeah, I'm right there with Cedric as far as a possible split with with Enzo and Cass, and maybe not even a split, but maybe just Cass moving forward as a singles wrestler with Enzo kind of as his I'm not going to call him a heater, but his mouth, so to speak. Yeah, mouthpiece. As far as the match itself, it was pretty surprising, especially to see them in Brooklyn lose, especially after the promo where they came out and they owned that entire arena as soon as they walked into the ring. Enzo, coming out in his Yankee pinstripes. So it was kind of interesting to see them not get the rub there. It felt like there was really no reason not to let him win the match. But I can see them kind of maybe pushing Cass as a singles wrestler. I feel like that's like the direction that they're foreshadowing, especially with a lot of the promos with Cass and with other wrestlers. And even in the match itself, it seemed like Enzo kind of lost a few steps there. I wouldn't really call them botches, but there was definitely a few miscues on some of the stuff that's normally pretty fluid. Case in point, the toss over the ropes where Big Cass picks him up and launches him. It looked like he almost kind of tripped right when Cass went to pick him up, and he kind of barely got him over the ropes. So, again, nothing to really go nasty on him, but it feels like Enzo maybe isn't up to par. And yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to say about that.
But to be fair, Cass also lost his balance and kind of had to go over the ropes.
I don't think Cass threw him the right way. At least that's what it looked like to me on that particular spot that you're talking about. So I don't know, goes both ways. But you're saying C+ for this too, then?
Yeah, it was entertaining, but it could have gone either way. A little confused by the ending, but it was entertaining. I liked the promo more than I liked the match, to be honest with you.
Well, my jaw dropped about the same as when AJ Styles lost to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. It was kind of the same surprise factor to me. And just I was that sure that Enzo and Cass were going to win that it really shocked me when they didn't. Favorite part of the whole match, though, and this one thing I'll always remember about the match, is Kevin Owens mimicking Enzo Amore on the apron.
And the little dolphin walk. Yeah. Oh yeah,
and of course, people have already made the GIFs. Is it GIFs or GIFs with both of them? Anyway, somebody's already made one of those with just that over and over. I could watch it for probably 30 minutes. Just
from Owen style. From Owen style.
Just the look on his face and the way he did the walk just has me cracking up. Just closed my eyes and just pictured it now, and that's what made me laugh. But anyway, not to say Jericho and Owens didn't deserve to win. Their mic work's been amazing. The stuff they've been doing backstage has been hilarious. So I couldn't complain at the ending. I just was really shocked and surprised. I also gave this match a C+. I think we're all on the same page on that one.
The finish was amazing. I'm sorry to interrupt. The finish was pretty. Not Bubba. He just Kevin threw him over himself, and even though it wasn't the most beautiful finisher that Jericho has done, it still was pretty impressive because I felt like Enzo's face really hit that knee pretty good, and even Jericho kind of looked at him for like 2 seconds, and then he went ahead and pinned him.
Yeah, it was like a super code breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Super code breaker. Something like that. That's what they need to use that. See, I've already given them a tag team name. They've got the Canadian Connection. You've got the Super Code Breaker. Man, they need to book me like for creative. It's done.
I think you should just call that move it.
Yeah,
because that's telling them they were going to get it.
They were going to get it.
They got it.
They got it. So,
what did they get?
It.
There you go.
So, you guys got anything else on this match before we move on?
Let's move it on along. I can't wait for this next one.
All right, so Charlotte defeats Sasha Banks. 13 minutes, 51 seconds. They got a good amount of time. Anything between 12 and 18 is a pretty good amount of time to get in a match. I kind of want to start out talking about this one. I thought it was just a really kind of weird set of circumstances through parts of this match. I don't know if it was a botch or if she meant to do it, but the way Sasha got dropped in the corner and she came sort of tumbling down and landed like directly on her head, which again, thank you, Internet. You've already made a bunch of memes and stuff out of it. But Sasha Banks' head just basically just directly just banging on the canvas. Overall, though, good solid match, but another one where when you see Charlotte get the victory was really surprising. Now, come to find out, Sasha is taking some time off, over 30 days worth, which is why they decided to change titles. At least that's what I read on the dirt sheets. But I like Charlotte as champion, always have. Doesn't really bother me. I feel a little bad for Sasha, though, because her first run was just a couple weeks, and she soundly lost to Charlotte. What do you guys think? Overall, though, still gave this match a B-. Thought it was still a really good match. Cedric?
I'm with him. Well, let me start by saying that I was really surprised. I think I literally LOL when I saw that, because I was like, why give the girl the title if on her first defense she was gonna lose the title, and the next time she wins she'll be a 2 times women's champion, but yet her first title reign she lost on her first defense. And for those that watch UFC or even boxing, a lot of folks think that you're not really the true champion until you actually get that one successful defense under your belt, and she wasn't even able to do that. I think Sasha is a little bit overrated to a certain point. I like her character, but not as much as other people do. Like, some of the things she says can get a little bit annoying, in my opinion. I think I'm with Jerry the King Lawler on this one. Hi, Jerry. And another thing that I was kind of surprised is she has that very crazy style of wrestling that I think it's gonna lessen her years in the ring if she doesn't take care of herself. Because I have seen her get some really bad hits, some really bad falls, and that one that you mentioned, I think that was a botch, and there was quite a few during the match actually. And the chemistry wasn't as good as I've seen it before. This one was really awkward. Just the whole feel to it was awkward, and then it ended with Charlotte becoming champion again. She is a good champion. She gets a lot of heat, so she's doing a good job. But it was just really awkward to see Sasha in her first defense lose, especially when WWE knew how much the fans wanted her to be champion. But then again, WWE lately has not been known to give the fans everything they want, if that. So C+.
Okay. Hoxter?
All right, well, I guess maybe I just feel a little bit differently about this match, but I'm going to give it a just short of an A-, and I'm going to go a B++ for this match. Yeah, there was that one awkward moment in the corner where Charlotte lifts her up, and it doesn't look like she slipped. It just kind of like she slipped out of her hands or something as she was jumping off the ropes, and she kind of hit the ropes and then slammed down on her head. Sasha, that is.
Yeah.
So the way I saw it, it kind of did look like a botch. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because for the next like 2 solid sessions, there was a lot of just miscues and a lot of awkward kind of improv kind of thing. Like we didn't talk about this. Oh crap, what do we do? And then maybe about 45 seconds to a minute after they kind of recompose themselves, the match just took off from there, and I loved every minute of it from that point on. Sasha to me she's like the female version of Dolph Ziggler when he was the bleach blonde heel show off. Like, she sells so amazingly. Like, I truly thought that she had broken a rib or dislocated a vertebrae for a few points in that match, and part of that is because she was legitimately hurt, as we found out later. But oh my gosh, like her athleticism coming back, the ability for her to do that head scissors takedown, for her to come back and still do a lot of her excellent moves, especially from the top rope. Like to me, that match was really special. And if it wasn't for that one awkward moment in the in the corner, I would have definitely gave this a solid A. It was one of my favorite matches from those two specifically. As far as Charlotte picking up the win, I'm not really disappointed because Charlotte makes a really good champion, especially a heel champion. You know, I love to not like her.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't compare to that match that they had on Raw for me, and that's the main reason.
The one where Charlotte won.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was in a whole nother league, and the fact that I think Dana was there kind of added a little bit more to the story and just the psychology of the match itself. But for just those two by themselves, I was not disappointed at all.
Yeah,
and I was glad that they got time to do everything.
Yeah, and like that match would have made it into that A- range for me. And so I looked at that and went, okay, well, I mean, I didn't think it was quite on that level, and so yeah, I think I could see where that could be graded. And this one, there was a lot of times where I just looked at it and I went, wow, you know, you could tell there was kind of and I agree with Cedric. Like I could see there being almost like a weird awkwardness or almost that was going on during that match. So
especially like you guys said, because they've already had such good matches together, there was something missing on that, and I base my opinion on myself, but definitely having my kids with me and even my wife, and they're looking at me like, what's going on? I've seen them rejoice and be really happy with their matches, and this one specifically, they did not have too much positive inputs when it ended. So,
well, I think that Sasha was hurt legitimately.
Yeah.
okay.
After that fall, took that one in the corner, you know.
She's tough.
I mean, she's tough as hell, but after that, she didn't seem to be the same after. It was just they worked a different style of match after that, and I think part of it was she was hurting, you know, throughout a good majority of the rest of that match. But yeah,
I think that's probably why I liked it so much, is because that you could tell there really was some realism to her bumps. Like it wasn't just her selling; it was her legitimately feeling it.
sure.
It.
It. All right. Well, you guys got anything else for the women's title match? Overall, we've ranged from a C plus on that one up to a B plus plus.
So probably right around the B minus area.
Yeah, I'd say right in a B minus. Right where I rated it. Makes sense. Anyway, so that means next in line we had The Miz defeating Apollo Crews for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. 5 minutes and 45 seconds. This was a borderline squash, to be honest. I don't know what you thought about it, Taukster, but go ahead.
Well, I really thought Apollo was gonna pick up the win. I thought he was gonna get his first title during this match. But yeah, Miz kind of held his own, and I was really shocked, especially because of the build up and the lead up.
Are you
calling
the Miz a coward?
I'm not calling him as a coward.
I wouldn't do that.
I learned my lesson from talking smack on Tuesday, but oh man, like I really thought that they were going to build something here as far as him, taking it easy and not being prepared for the match. But once that bell rang, I mean, he was all go and he was in it. I mean, I've said this before. Like I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I saw The Miz live, and ever since I saw him live, I really became a fan of his work. It is a more slower, more technique, not really technique, but like, God, what's the word?
Like methodical.
Methodical. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the word. A very methodical method to the madness kind of work. And I mean, it works. It pays off. And there's people that legitimately don't like him because of how he works, but it works. I mean, the guy's on his 144, 145 days of the never-ending Miz title reign. So, I mean, it's working. I'm a fan. I was pretty disappointed to see Apollo lose, but I thought they did a real good job, especially the announcers during that match. They really told a lot of Apollo Creed's. Wow, I did it. I pulled the Daniel Bryan. Apollo Crews.
I wasn't even going to say anything. I was going to let it go. I was gonna frozen that and just put it away. Let it go.
I was really liking how the commentary really put a lot of his backstory in, and even the fact that they mentioned Uha Nation. His high school football coach gave him the name Uha Nation because he was as strong as a country. So I thought that was really cool on the announcer's part. So I'm looking forward to how they build him in the future.
What did you rate the match overall?
I'll give it a C plus. Nothing truly on the wow factor for high spots. Every time he does the military press to the back flip, I love seeing that. But I mean, we've seen it so many times. We've seen it just about every match so far. But just the fact that he's such a big guy and he moves like a 170 pound, 180 pound wrestler, it's truly special to see him in the ring. It was a very big contrast in wrestling styles, though. So I can see how a lot of people probably wouldn't care much for that match.
Okay, and Cedric, your thoughts?
Nah, I just I do like the fact the commentators that mentioned that. I think that I'm really liking the fact that these commentators are having a little bit more freedom to mention other companies, other names that they had, other moves, stuff like that. Things that you know that the only time that you've ever seen or heard of it is on the independent circuit. So I'm kind of glad that they giving them that liberty, because for the most part, I know this is an overall assessment, but the SmackDown commentating crew was really disappointing. Outside of Morrow, I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, but I will give this match a C minus, and to be honest with you, it's not so much what they did something wrong; it's what they did not do, which is a very incredibly short match for the Intercontinental title. I was very surprised when they brought up Apollo Crews to fight the Miz for this title out of the blue, and I was like, I did not think Miz was gonna lose. I thought it was too soon to put the title on Crews, but at the same time, it was like you said, it was almost like a squash match. What's the point? Just to kind of show off a little bit of the Miz, but you have, for a kind of squash match, you have the actual televised shows, not so much a network special as big as SummerSlam. But I would assume it does what it has to do. What's next for Apollo Crews? I have no idea. I haven't watched Raw SmackDown this week, so not sure if he even showed up. But it's gonna take some building to make him believable again, in my opinion. He has a talent. He's like Neville. These are two gentlemen that high flyers, really good moves, strong guys. Really good moveset. It's just how are they gonna be built on the main rosters is the important thing. And I gotta agree with Outstanding when he said what he said about seeing the Miz in person. I too saw the Miz in a house show, and I have front row seats, and I was very surprised. His build he's a pretty built dude. He's not some lanky type of guy. He has a pretty good build, and I'm one of the few that actually did not mind when the Miz was champion. I actually enjoyed it because it was different. So, and I'm liking this Miz, and I definitely like the Talking Smack Miz. Holy Lord, he showed some emotion. I had goosebumps and everything, especially when Daniel Bryan walked out. My mind just started racing. What can happen from this point on? So, good on the WWE for giving that opportunity.
What's your rating on the match then?
I went with a C minus. Didn't really see much of it. Just like you said, 5 minutes plus for an Intercontinental. And you know what? I'll give it a C, because some of the stuff that I did see wasn't that bad. I think, like how Stanley said, his strength, Cruz's strength is amazing. I think he did something where he pressed the Miz, and I thought he was gonna drop him, but he just grabbed him into a power slam. I was like, this kid is special. It's just how will they book him? But I'll give it a C. Like I said, it's not what they did wrong. It's just too short of a match.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on this. I'm with you fellers. I rated this right at a C. It didn't go long enough for me to deserve a rating better than that. More importantly, though, I mean, we covered the match pretty thoroughly. Let's talk about this worked shoot interview that happened here on Talkin' Smack. So I saw that, again, just rumors, but WWE hasn't officially closed the door on Daniel Bryan never wrestling again. And so, you know, the rumor mill is already turning about a potential Miz Daniel Bryan thing going on, possibly for WrestleMania, which is why they started with this particular angle. But this just goes to show you what can happen when you give a guy who can talk a microphone and just say, look, say what you want. Just be as mean as you can be. Now, was it passive aggressive of Miz? Yes. But my favorite heels are the ones that seem justified in their actions. And Daniel Bryan attacked his character, not just his TV character, but the Miz's character in general. And I think that rooted deep within him to help him with this particular promo that he cut. And I can't look at the Miz's statements, any of the ones he made, and disagree with any of them. And to me, that's a great heel promo, because he was completely justified in what he was saying. It was just obviously the delivery was meant to upset, provoke, and chase away Daniel Bryan. What are your thoughts, Cedric? And then we'll go to Hauxer.
Nah, man, I cannot disagree with you, man. It was amazing, and it's funny because we've said it, we've heard other folks say it. You know, we've even heard, oh my gosh, Mizdow, whatever name he's going by on TNA, he said it himself. You know, the WWE has at times been afraid to give the freedom to some of these guys on the mic, probably afraid of what they are going to say. And I definitely think that the GM roles and all this stuff to me has been really weird, really, really weird. And even Daniel Bryan with Shane, I'm not buying it. So when he kind of called him a coward, I was like, come on, man. Like, I understand that you said you weren't happy to having drafted him. And that was kind of cool that he said that. It kind of put a hint of what could happen. But calling him a coward, and even though it was heel, like you said, I don't really consider it so much heel as more like just being honest. Because he even said, I love wrestling. I love the fans. I love everything of it. You're the one that left them high and dry after all the support. So I've read people complain. Some people have actually been, I guess, offended by it. I just thought it was great. It just showed a sign of the Miz. The Miz had his eyes all teared up at the end of it when he asked the camera to look at him. So it was a good promo, man. And I've heard some people that did not appreciate it. I did. It's, you know, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of his, but I don't hate the guy. I think he has his place in wrestling, and he has been good at what he does. So that's great. And like you said, if there's potential for a future match, and it's not going to hurt Daniel, if Daniel really is clear to do so, oh my gosh, this is going to be an amazing match.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard, like I said, that they're friends and that they both really respect each other, you know, outside of the ring. So obviously, I don't think that this was something that Miz just started shooting on Daniel in the middle of the show, you know. But Renee Young sold it pretty well, and it makes me wonder, did she even know, like, that this was happening? Because she looked just pseudo terrified, and then obviously you have you know, Daniel getting up and walking out like the way he did, and then to me what just sticks with me is just the fact that I can't look at what he said and disagree.
Hey guys, before you pass it on to Hawk Stanley, let me see one quick shout out, man.
Yeah.
Good shout out. Good. Renee Young has surprised me a lot. I actually like her doing the pre-shows. I like her doing this Talking Smack. She's, to me, one of the better commentators / hosts that we have. I just want to throw that out there, man. She's really good.
Yeah, she is. And, you know, Dean Ambrose is a lucky guy. So, Hawkster, your thoughts?
All right. Well, I'm actually going to take a couple steps back here before I start jumping into the weeds. And I'm going to say that if you are not watching Talking Smack after SmackDown Live, you are missing probably the best part of SmackDown Live. With the way that they're doing this post-show talk show, if you will, I think we are starting to see the evolution of pro wrestling kayfabe, because you're really blurring the lines a lot between storyline and reality with what they're saying. The fact that Daniel's going on about, I was just at an indie show called Evolve and seeing a lot of their wrestlers, seeing some of the cruiserweight guys wrestling outside of WWE. It's weird to see the WWE acknowledge other promotions, especially an indie promotion like Evolve, which, sure, I understand they have a little bit of a partnership with WWE as far as farming out some of the developmental guys so they can work more. But the whole attack with Nikki Bella and Carmella, and just this specifically what we're talking about, the Miz going off on Daniel, like, work or shoot regardless. Like, this is must see TV for anybody who truly loves a good storyline. Because I mean, it truly did blur the lines of, wait, like, he's legitimately crying, he's legitimately going off on him. Look at the way Renee Young is reacting, like you said. So I think we're really seeing an evolution in kayfabe right now. As far as Daniel Bryan returning to the ring, I mean, if you follow him on Instagram, like, you see a lot of what he's doing in the gym. He's busting his butt, and he's still in excellent shape. You know, WWE doctors are the only ones that haven't cleared him. He's been cleared by UCLA and by a couple other doctors and at other locations. So he's still fit. Obviously, the concussion thing is the big red flag, and I understand that.
Well, he had actual lesions. He had actual lesions on his brain, didn't he? A lesion.
That's what they've said. Yes, but if you want to put even just an ounce of belief into any of these rumors that are going on, because I've read quite a few articles since Tuesday. I mean, it's only been 2 days, but if you want to put even an ounce of truth to some of these rumors, you have to do it at WrestleMania, and you have to keep The Miz as the Intercontinental Champion up until that match. That's must see, and that's a big ticket mid card match right there.
See, and I halfway wonder if this isn't a long con. Like, if some of this hasn't been going on, like, they've had this idea for a while. Obviously not Daniel's retirement. That's obviously, wasn't the case. But what if not long after that they started looking at it and they said, you know what, maybe you are gonna be okay, and they started reevaluating it, and this whole time has just all been a big setup for us to lead up to this. Because if you look at Daniel's relationship with The Miz from the get-go, and the things he said, the way he's been treating him, that, everything, it leads you to believe, like, eventually Miz is going to kick his ass. Because, I mean,
sure, this goes all the way back to Daniel Bryan's debut when he was on the original NXT, whatever you want to call that, however it was booked, when he was the Miz's protege.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very long storyline. Like, this goes back to Triple H and Shawn Michaels' bad blood kind of thing.
Well,
this match has that kind of potential. If this were to happen, this has that kind of high potential just to be one of those matches that we're going to talk about for a long time. Because I remember the Triple H Shawn Michaels match when he returned. Oh my gosh, I had goosebumps. I have goosebumps just listening to Hulk standing describing the darn thing. Holy crap! It's still real for me, damn it.
Just to feed in a little more to this conspiracy, as I'm calling it now, without a shadow of a doubt that if WWE did not sign Daniel Bryan as the GM, or didn't do anything with the Cruiserweight title or Cruiserweight Challenge, Cruiserweight Classic, and kept him on the WWE payroll, there is no doubt in my mind he'd already be signed with ROH again, or already probably back in Japan. That he'd still be wrestling because he has been cleared by outside WWE areas. And I think with him and his passion for this business, there's no doubt in my mind that he'd already be wrestling somewhere else.
Yeah, it definitely makes you wonder. And, I guess we'll get into some of this a little bit later, but it's one of those things where, like, my wife gets upset about stuff like that because the kids don't understand it. And it blurs for them, it's blurring the line between, reality and not and you know, works and real life. And I told her, I said, that's what's so great about it.
Exactly.
But to her, she just is afraid for what the kids are going to think, or you know, all these other types of things. And I said, just let them enjoy it. Just let them believe what they want to believe for a little bit, you know. But especially with this instance, like she looked at me and goes, "Was Miz really pissed or what?" And I said, "Shit, I don't know." I mean, obviously, I think you know, but Renee Young sure looked like she wasn't expecting that to happen, and even Maurice, when Miz gets up and he actually bumps into her, she gives him this look and her eyes go wide and she just backs away from him. And it's things like that where you just look at it and you go, damn, how much of that was expected and how much of it wasn't. And
I'm telling you, man, evolution of kayfabe right here.
I know. Mm-hmm.
that's how you build. To me, that's how you build good, solid storylines. Because who wouldn't want to see that now, you know? But at the same time, is Miz gonna turn pseudo face over this? Because Daniel Bryan was in the wrong with the comments he made, and watching the CWC, especially with the way that Daniel Bryan's calling the matches and showing pure blatant favoritism toward Brian Kendrick, and talking like Brian Kendrick's using heel tactics in all the matches, and Daniel Bryan's talking it up the whole time.
Come on, Brian. You can do this, Brian.
Well, not only that, but I mean, he's like, well, you got to do anything necessary. You got to do everything. And just the way that he's talking, it makes me suspicious, and it always does. And it's my little like wrestling hairs in the back of my neck start standing up, and it's stuff like that where I'm like, I'm thinking way too deep into this.
Yeah.
But what if I'm not? Like, what if this is? Yeah. What if this is what's actually going on, and this is what they're using to push the next, you know, this next match or next evolution or whatever they're doing. And then if that happens, I'll just straight up poop my pants. I will just sit in front of the TV and just let my bowels go and just sit in it.
I'm marking out like crazy.
It's like even my butthole marked out just now. It just released. But anyway,
that's that I want to hear about.
But
or what do we call those smarks?
Those are some
different marks.
I'd say some different kind of marks, but yeah. Anyway, just exciting. We kind of went off on a tangent, but I had to discuss it simply because of just how it's been and how it went down. And obviously, Cedric, you didn't get to see Monday or Tuesday night, but you did get to see that promo. So since you've seen it, I really wanted to put that out there for you. So, but all right, you guys got anything else?
I would have been insulted if we didn't talk about it.
You guys got anything else either regarding this match or, regarding the promo?
No, I think we said our piece. Unless you got anything, Cedric.
Oh man, good on the Miz, man. Good on the Miz. You know, showing that fire. You know, it's nice. That talking smack is good to see something outside of the ring. Because, you know, these guys put their health on the line every single time they get into a match, and the Miz is one of those wrestlers that has gotten a lot of heat from people for not being good. So I think there was a lot of reality when he was yelling at the people, you know, when he was pointing at the camera saying, you know, I love this business. You know, even though he's the heel, he's talking about how he loves the business, how he loves the fans, and how he gives it his all, regardless of what people say. You know,
day in and day out for 10 years, and I've never been injured. I didn't take no 6 month to a year break.
People talk about Cena, but they don't talk about guys like him. You know.
What about that?
Has to get to them.
What about that year and a half he basically didn't wrestle though? Which is the thing I thought about. I was like, you basically didn't get booked to wrestle. You were booked to come out and do a talk show and then get punched in the mouth by Big Show or something. But
well, he's an A-list superstar, celebrity. I mean, you know, he's making movies and TV shows.
That's neither here nor there. But all right. So next we had a potential match of the year candidate in AJ Styles versus John Cena. To me, best match on this card, and I gave this match a good solid A. Enjoyed it. Actually had to sound like a bad parent, but I actually had to tell my kids to sit down and shut the hell up because I was trying to watch this match. Like that's how into this match I got at one point. I was like, both of you just shut the hell up and sit down. I am watching this. And they were like up excited trying to watch. I was like, sit down. I can't hear anything. And so, to me, 23 minutes, 10 seconds it went. Didn't feel that long, and that's what's important. Great match. Didn't feel like it went that long though. So, man, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. Where it's AJ kicking out of the Super AA. If it's AJ with the with the finish the way it was, John Cena leaving his armband in the ring at the end of the match. There was so much in this that they had the look on John Cena's face when he kicked out, and John's just you saw a complete demoralization of a guy that you never see show any weaknesses really. The look on his face and the reaction he had when AJ kicked out was just eerie. It was one of those things to where you're like that he knows he can't beat him. He has on his face he's basically given up. A guy who never gives up has given up. And so that's what this match meant to me. It was fantastic from beginning to end. Really enjoyed it. Best match they've had so far. Cedric, what did you think?
I was just excited to think that when we were discussing what our thoughts were, I had picked AJ to win, and I remember you bringing up your reasons why, how to keep it going, and I remember agreeing with. I remember saying, you know what, if they're thinking the way you're thinking, then I can see why Cena would win. But then, as I was watching the match, I started thinking about what Hawk Standing was saying when he mentioned, you know what, guys, maybe it is one-on-one, because the first match, even though it was one-on-one, the club got involved, and then on the second match, even though it was a 3-on-3, obviously AJ had some punishment from Cass, from Enzo, and then eventually from AJ, from Cena, who got the victory. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Maybe we should think of this as one win apiece. So when they started fighting, I was like, thinking from one apiece, I was like, and the other thing that Hawk Standing said, where SummerSlam either starts or finishes feuds, I was like, you know what? To see this feud continue on a lesser pay-per-view or network special won't make sense. So I really was rooting for Styles, and oh my gosh, when I saw him win, I was so freaking excited because it was a great match, very heavy hitting. It wasn't like the first one where AJ showed off all his wrestling moves, and Cena was more of just like one dimensional. At one point, they were going at it. Cena was bringing some new stuff into his repertoire. I'm like, wow, it's good on Cena. And then it became like strong, like power move to power move, and not so much like smooth, but just who could hit hardest. And I really liked the way Cena sold when he looked at him. I think he even says, "What the f?" If you read his lips,
Yeah.
and he's just looking at AJ like, what the hell just happened here? Like, I'm freaking Super Cena, and this little freaking kid that gets made fun of because of his hairstyle at age 40 just kicked out of my Super AA, and just his expression, dude, just that one moment made this freaking match even more memorable. It made me even forget the freaking fact that JBL screamed over Mauro Ranallo, he almost beat him with his own move. And Mauro Ranallo's like, it's the Roshi Karoshi. And I'm like, shut up, JBL. If you have no clue what you're talking about. I even forgot about that for a second. And then just seeing him go for the Styles Clash, and then take off the elbow pad and hit him in the mouth. And when you look at AJ, he's bleeding from his mouth. It was just an amazing match. And then his reaction at the end, taking off, like you said, a man that never gives up. He took off the never give up armband, and that's why he left on the ring, turns around, salutes the fans, and walks out. It was just an amazing match. This is an A match, man. There's no way this match is not an A. This is a freaking A match. It's not A plus because they already had the A plus match before, but it's an A. This is definitely an A match.
And not a huge spoiler for you, Cedric, but AJ comes out with that armband on Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
And so it's one of those things to where I was like, oh, I have no idea what that means, but I mean, it's just the fact that he comes out with that thing on, and it meant that much more for when he cuts his promo on Tuesday. So yeah,
I think that even the fact that I've read an article where they said that even Vince was saying, you know what, I kind of regret not having signed this kid before. But it's like I tell my wife, this is one of those cases that kind of makes me a believer that things work out for the best because AJ had to build himself to this man that he is today. You know what I mean? We probably wouldn't have the AJ Styles that we have today if he would have just signed with WWE from the get go. So it was a really good match. And like you guys have been saying, the fact that they mentioned other companies, the fact that they mention other people's successes somewhere else, it just adds to it. And Mauro Ranello, another one of those commentators that I appreciate all the knowledge he has.
Yeah,
Eighth match.
I was gonna say the one thing for me was just the commentary team. I thought did a good job with it. The overall, just the way it was done, the way the match was set up, the way it ended. There was nothing to complain about in a match in that match, and that's a rarity. So yeah, obviously well done. Hulkster, what did you think?
One of the key moments. I don't want to repeat too much of what you guys are saying because that's pretty much all I would do if I really went into a full breakdown of this. I'd just be repeating word for word what y'all have already said. But to add to it, one of my favorite parts of the match, in the beginning parts of the match, was when when AJ had Cena in a headlock. Cena backs up to the ropes and he goes to push him off, and AJ just goes immediately into that roll, turns around, and he gets up and says, "John, we've done this before. Don't you get it? You can't beat me like this." And it just really escalated everything else that came out afterwards, where we see John Cena doing some of the extra moves. The sunset flip that
Yeah.
Cena does on AJ, that's probably the best sunset flip I've ever seen from Cena. He didn't do that little pause jump beforehand to set it up. He just goes right into it. It was just completely fluid. And yeah, when he kicks out of the Super AA, the move that beat AJ in the 6-man tag team match at the previous pay-per-view, is just like you just see it on his face. And yeah, just like you guys said, it was just complete utter disbelief. And I didn't know what to think of at the very end, where Cena pulls off the armband and leaves it in the ring. It's just like one of those what does that mean kind of things, because it was just a week earlier where he said, I'm never going away. I love this too much. Like, this will always be my home. I'm not going anywhere. And then to see that, what does it mean? And then to just add to it, Cena wasn't on SmackDown this week. So it's like, what does this mean?
Another spoiler alert, by the way.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay.
So, one thing my kids' memories are amazing because Cena hits that Super A at the end of the match. My oldest son says, "That's it. It's over." 1, 2, kick out. He looks at me and he goes, "Dad, didn't Dolph Ziggler just beat AJ Styles with a super kick, but AJ Styles just kicked out of a Super AA?" And I said, "Son, I don't know what to tell you, but I mean, he was in a match with 5 other guys. Maybe that had something to do with it." And he goes, "No, I don't know, Dad, but that's crazy, But just the fact that he picked up on the fact that Dolph Ziggler beat him with a single super kick in the 6-pack challenge, just things like that. I didn't even remember that. And so it's just funny, like my kids week to week, the things that they bring up and that they remember. And then he also said, then he said the same thing. He says, and it beat him last time. I don't know what changed. And I said, I don't know either, son. But I mean, AJ Styles obviously wanted to really win this match. And he goes, yeah, he said that must be it. And I said, yeah, that must be it. But
what changed was this was the only true one-on-one match between them. There was no club. There was no Enzo and Cass. This was solely mano a mano. The first time, truly, and the only time, truly. And AJ Styles beat up John Cena.
Now, do you guys think it leads to a gimmick change for John Cena?
I was actually talking to my sister about this because I'm so happy, and I'm also pretty sinisterly happy as well because my dad hates wrestling. He doesn't care much for it whatsoever. But over the last year and a half, I have converted my sister into a super mark. And she texted me as soon as this match was over.
Mark.
And she's like, "Are we going to see Cena turn heel now?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that would be awesome." But he should be gone for like a full month. Like he should come back after Clash or after Backlash.
Yeah.
And after AJ wins the title, cough, cough. Spoiler prediction.
Yeah.
But oh man, how awesome would that be?
You got to tell her to quit using these insider terms. She's got to earn that. She's got to pay her dues first.
Oh, she's getting there. I mean, she not to digress too much off of this, but my sister, her number one passion right now is volleyball, and the more and more she gets into wrestling, she called me and we were talking a little while after Raw, and she's like, "Hey, did you know that Charlotte was a high school national champion in volleyball, and she was also in college for volleyball, and I'm in volleyball, and maybe after college I could be a wrestler." I'm so proud of you, sis. I love you so much.
I was actually just gonna say that. I was say, did she know Charlotte was a national champion? But
oh yeah, she knew that before I knew that.
I just listened to too many damn podcasts. But yeah. All right. Cool. Well, again, what was your overall rating for the match?
I have to give this an A+, and I really don't see any way around it. To me, this was the best match, and just the story being told during the match throughout, verbally and non-verbally, I was hooked. And I mean, granted, it was just me and my wife watching SummerSlam in our living room, but I was clapping and yelling, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" And my wife's just looking at me like, "You realize we're the only two here, and they can't hear you in the ring."
All right. So, after that match, it kind of led us to kind of a weird one. We had the club defeating the New Day via disqualification. 9 minutes, 9 seconds. Before we give our ratings, Jon Stewart, quit interfering with our matches. For the love of God. But, continue. Cedric, what did you think of this match? How did you rate it?
I really thought this was going to be the opportunity, just Xavier, Kofi versus the club. And I know you have mentioned that you've read that Kofi said, if they didn't have to disband the team. I just thought it was time for them to lose the titles and lose them cleanly, on a tag team title where there was only two versus two and not that third person element that usually there is with the New Day. I did not think they clicked. I think there was no true chemistry. I don't know where Gallows and Anderson that I remember from NJPW, I don't know where those two gentlemen are, but they're definitely not in WWE. It was just a weird match overall. I've seen better from both teams, and then the whole Jon Stewart being part of the New Day, that to me just threw it off. I just cannot get into it. And seeing Big E come out and interfere, and it's like I told you guys last week, I'm like, the only way I see them retaining is if Big E comes out, and that's exactly what happened. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think they're good. I'm not sure if they're trying to break the record that Demolition had. I can imagine that's what they're going for. But I did not enjoy it, guys. I'm sorry. I know I like the New Day as a team, but I just think it's time to give somebody else a chance on this one. And I thought this might be the moment for the club, but at the same time, I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't think the fighting style that I've seen from the club even earns them the right to have the tag team titles right now. So just not my cup of tea, especially after seeing AJ Styles versus John Cena.
I think that the club's attack segments have all been pretty good, like where they just come out and they lay waste to a tag team and they leave. But but their
Exactly.
actual in-ring work has not been that good, and I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if they're asked to work a different style. It really does baffle me. I'm not sure, but all right. Hulkster, how about you?
Yeah, I gotta give this a C minus, and really the only reason I'm rating it like that is because of the comedic value that it had. There were some entertaining segments during that, but it was just weird. And any time a face team retains because of disqualification, that just to me is confusing as all get out. And then Biggie drinking
Mm-hmm.
the ball juice afterwards was just like, what the hell? Like, it was just all around awkward. But I will say that because of how over the New Day is, I definitely think that they did deserve to keep the titles for that full 365. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, this match was just awkward. Like, it did not feel like a special match. It was just something that I could have seen on Raw. And honestly, I was really rooting for Jon Stewart to develop a case of
Ring
ring
postitis?
postitis. So that would have been cool. And what's aside from the obvious, what's the harm in dragging him into the ring post right before Big E comes out? But yeah, it is what it is. It was entertaining. There was quite a few funny moments, but the actual match itself, I thought, was just bleh.
That's my thing. Also, you already have in the Golden Truth like the funny team, and New Day, it was like they were the ones that were the funny team, and now with Golden Truth and whatnot, just a little bit of more seriousness, just a tad bit, not much more, but it was just weird. The whole Jon Stewart thing as well just threw me off. I actually thought the guy was gonna like betray them for
Yeah, I
one
thought he
moment.
was
I
gonna
really,
turn.
I
I
really
thought he was
did.
gonna turn on the New Day. I did too the whole time.
And then seeing just the way it happened, I don't know. It was just like it was just an awkward match all around. So I don't know. Nothing more to say.
I gave this match a D. Now, had I not known or seen either of these two tag teams before in my life and understand what they can accomplish when they're on their A game, this would have been like a -5 stars right here. I had such a hard time enjoying it. Not only was it after one of the best matches we've seen this year, it also had kind of a crap ending. It had the crazy interference, which made no sense. It just basically made the New Day look really bad with Jon Stewart getting in the ring, doing what he was doing. I mean, the only thing that would have made it great is if somebody would have just laid waste to him, you know? Because that's what
Yeah,
those kind of spots are for. Donald Trump gets a stunner, you know? He gets taken down outside the ring by Vince McMahon. Whatever. You have those guys just take their beat down and go. Like, to me, that seems to be the easiest way to when you're dealing with a celebrity like that. But yeah, just John, quit interfering with the matches, please. Like, jeez. But
And
maybe
Biggie
that's
too.
the new Summerslam streak. How many times Jon Stewart can pull something off and
maybe,
steal the
although
show?
it would be nice if he would, you know, if he wanted to do something like that, be more of a, either a mouthpiece in some way or a, you know, um, almost like an Andy Kaufman type guy.
I dig it. Yeah.
I'm cool with that, but pick a side. You can't basically do what you did to John Cena the year before and then expect everyone to love you when you try to hop in on the New Day. In fact, you bring the New Day down because
Yeah,
now they don't
especially when
know.
you bring up the fact that you
Yeah.
hit John Cena with a
Now,
chair
now they
like
don't
10
even
minutes before the match.
they don't even know if they want to cheer or boo New Day now because they're like, well, they've got Jon Stewart with them. Like that
Yeah.
sucks. So
But I did think it was
Mick
hilarious
Foley
that John.
randomly eating bootios was pretty good though.
Yeah.
In the pre when they just first talked to him when they were interviewing him initially, but
I did think it was
And
hilarious though that John Stewart tucked his shirt in before
Yeah.
Gallows and Anderson and went after him. I thought that was pretty good.
Well,
Yeah,
the whole Finn Balor and the club thing was cool too.
yeah, it just wasn't my thing for sure. For this match, and I wish it could have been better, and I wanted it to be better. It was not. Anyone have anything else to say?
That match was not too sweet.
Not too sweet. No, it was not. All right. So we have Dean Ambrose, who defeated Dolph Ziggler for the WWE World Championship, which is now less than the Universal Championship, I guess, but well, whatever. 15 minutes, 18 seconds, almost in the middle of the card, which I thought was kind of weird. But I'll go ahead and just talk about this real quick. So this was pretty one-sided. It went 15 minutes, but honestly, Ambrose pretty much beat the crap out of Ziggler most of the match. Ziggler spent most of the match selling, and that was it. So, okay match. I gave it a B, solid B. It didn't do much for me other than that, though. Don't know if it was just a combination of Ambrose's offense, which I'm already not like a huge fan of, and Ziggler selling a lot, but not really looking as competitive as I thought he could have. What are your guys' thoughts? We'll go back to you, Huxton.
Yeah, to me, this is where SummerSlam just started going downhill, and you have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which truly, as far as prestige goes with the current titles, as far as the main card title, this is the title to have, and you have it in the middle of the show. It was just really weird, and I think the placement of that really kind of threw me off, and you could tell the fans were really kind of thrown off as well. And it was just real hard to get into this match, and especially with the build-up that they had for it, because this was a really, really good build-up. When Dolph was going real hard in that promo, and then out of nowhere super kicks and drops Dean Ambrose, I was really expecting to see a lot more back and forth. But as you said, like, Dean pretty much squashed most of this match, and it was just awkward. Like, the whole thing just seemed really forced and not really artistic, if that makes sense.
Even Dean.
So I'm gonna give it like a C minus.
Yeah, even Dean picking up the movesets. So trying to tuned up the band at one point, was just doing some weird kind of off the wall stuff, which I guess we should probably expect by now. But
yeah, it really feels like Dean's turning heel. Like, he's trying to do the Randy Orton tweener thing, and I don't really think that's working much for him. Like, I would rather see him as a full heel or full baby face. I don't think the tweener thing really works too well, especially with the amount of fans that he has. It works a lot better for Ziggler because he's that underrated guy who's got more talent than he's allowed to use. But with Dean, it's just, I don't know. But they did a good job on commentary really selling Dean. I will say that, as far as the hardcore background that they were talking about, especially during the pre-show when they were talking about this match. But yeah, the match itself just didn't live up for me.
all right, so then you have Cedric. What's your opinion?
Oh.
Maybe you could split the difference for us. He says C minus, I say a B.
I'm borderline D plus if there's such a thing.
Huh.
Because I'll be honest with you, I think Dolph Ziggler is again, he's part of that group of wrestlers in WWE that's underrated, not just by leadership but also by the fans. The guy is a good wrestler. He sells very well. He's come a long way from the male cheerleader to what he's become. I think when he became champion the first time, people were freaking begging for it, and now people act like they just forgot. It's almost like people who used to watch MTV for the music videos, and now they complain about those same music videos. They know the songs, all the lyrics to. Oh, that's a bad song. Yeah, that was the same song you loved at one point. I think that's the way Dolph Ziggler was. People really liked him, and then all of a sudden, people just hate him. I don't know why. And I really thought he had an opportunity to win. I like the promos and that they had before the match. but the actual fight itself was just so awkward. It was just there were missed moves. We've already talked about the move sets that Dean Ambrose has, where he's acting like he's hitting you so hard, but not even one hit, not even one fist or punch or nothing's really touching the opponent. I've seen much better matches from Ziggler, from offense to selling, and the one thing that I did not like, but at the same time it was good psychology, I guess, was Dean Ambrose showing no respect towards Dolph Ziggler. But I think he just oversold the I don't respect you and I truly believe you don't deserve to be here and there's no way you're gonna beat me. Like he just it was such a heel esque kind of attitude, but at the same time, we ain't talking about Brock Lesnar, we're talking about Dean Ambrose. And
Well,
I'm not
Lesnar?
saying and was that?
You talking about Lesnar?
That's what that's what I'm saying. It's not Brock Lesnar. When Brock Lesnar tells you there's no way you can beat me,
Yeah.
it's believable. When Dean is telling you there's no way you're gonna beat me, and then the way he sold it in the ring was like, I know everything you're gonna do. You're not gonna beat me. There's no way. And even at the end, when that really awkward move that for 5 or 10 seconds, I think they were trying to figure out what they were gonna do. When he finally drops down and puts him into the dirty deeds, and he just looks at him and just like, no, like really, is that what you're gonna try on me? So I was like, really, are we really gonna sell now Dean Ambrose as this super amazing wrestler all of a sudden? I'm like, this, I don't know, it wasn't for me. I really thought that Dolph had an opportunity to win, and I was kind of disappointed with the ending. But the match itself, one more of those awkward matches, and it. I'm risking to sound like I'm repeating myself, which I probably already did. I agree with Hawk Standing. If you, as a company, do not respect your own title enough to put it at the end of the network special or pay per view, just like Jim Ross said, do not expect the fans to respect it. They complained about what happened in the later match with the title. You don't respect it enough. Don't expect the fans to respect it. Even my wife was telling me, wasn't there a time that the title match was the last match? I was like, yeah, there was a time, but obviously WWE doesn't care as much for their titles anymore.
All right. Only thing I have on that, in their defense, the Universal title is supposed to be now more important than the World Championship because the universe is bigger than the world.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, I'm just delivering a message. So then I understand why you put Brock Lesnar on last in this network special, which we'll talk about later. In this instance, I was okay with Lesnar and Orton going on last, but I don't know, and I guess we'll just go ahead and do it now. I don't know why you put a 6-woman tag team match and then a non-match for the United States title after Ziggler Ambrose. If they would have put those two matches, then you did Ziggler Ambrose, then you did Faye Seth, then you did Finn and Seth, and then finally do Lesnar Orton, I would have been okay with that order, me personally. But that's not what they did. Wow. But yeah, so we're crapping on this match. We are. I didn't think it was as bad as you guys did, obviously, but I don't know, maybe if it was the expectation versus the reality type thing. Yeah, not good. And if I'm the company, I'm losing faith in Dean Ambrose as a champion. Because let's face it, he didn't exactly have a classic with Jericho. Not that long ago. His last good match, like really good match in my opinion, was against Triple H at that
Roadblock.
Roadblock. That's his last really good match. But he hasn't shown me anything since.
No, he hasn't. And even the whole podcast thing is another black eye for him as well.
Yeah.
And I think kind of what you mentioned as far as expectation with this match, card placement aside, like they did everything to build up a solid comeback at the end of that match for Dolph Ziggler to, have a resurgence and find a way to dig deep and come back and win. And when that didn't happen, it just really left a sour taste in my mouth because they did such a good job of building up Dolph Ziggler and going into his backstory and building him up as a legitimate contender. And you're not good enough.
And good on Ambrose for selling that. You know what I'm saying? His facial gestures, his body language, even what he said. But it's Dean Ambrose. You know what I mean? Like, you're the one telling Dolph Ziggler you're not good enough to beat me. I don't know. It was just weird. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, I was going to say we covered quite a bit on that, so let's go ahead and move on to the six-woman tag team match. 11 minutes, 7 seconds. You had Natalya, Alexa Bliss with the return of Nikki Bella, defeating Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Carmella. Based on its placement of the card, I didn't really have a huge issue with it. Just to see, like, it was an okay match. Didn't have any real issues with it. Had a surprise injury, had that going for it. I thought the right person won and the right person lost, as far as who was pinned and who made the pin in this match. And other than that, I don't have a whole lot to say. What about you guys?
Well, for me, I'm perfectly okay because you need a filler match between the two title matches, so I'm cool with that. The awkward part was when they announced Eva Marie as part of the match, and then like, no, she couldn't make it or whatever. Like, y'all just announced a few days ago on your website that Eva Marie was suspended. So why would you announce that on your website and then continue to kayfabe in the ring? I mean, that to me was the confusing part. And I understand, because you got to sell story, but why wait until? Why not wait until after the SummerSlam to announce this?
I think a lot of that came from because there were rumors floating around that whole time that it was all a work. Mm-hmm. That her suspension was just a work for her to get out of wrestling for a month. And
gotcha.
So people were legitimately like, oh, she's just working us to make it think she's gone for a month or whatever. Then she's going to show up, and so people were really all over that on the internet. So I think they were just paying attention and said, you know what, let's just throw a little teaser out there. Why not?
Yeah, that makes sense. But like, I don't know how many times I've said this. I think this might be the first time I've said this out loud. But I was really happy to see Nikki Bella come back.
You like to see Nikki's belly?
Yes, yes, I do. But I was actually really happy to see her come back. And that new finish she got is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like it a lot better than what she was doing before.
The fireman's carry cutter.
It legitimately looks like it hurts.
Yeah. I mean, it's
the
basically
fireman's cutter. Is that basically what it is?
Yeah, it's fireman's cutter. It's fireman's carry into a cutter. So I mean, it probably has some other fancy name that eludes me at the moment. But it was essentially.
I know somebody called it the Hawaiian Crusher or the Hawaiian Cutter. I think Rikishi did it when he was just Fatu.
Oh, maybe I would say because it wasn't the Rikishi driver, but yeah, it was it was similar to that in the end, but obviously it was a cutter of some kind. But yeah, I just call it fireman's carry cutter because that's essentially the best way to describe it. But yeah, that would make sense, like a Hawaiian or. All right. So what did you give the match overall?
I'll give it a C. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was a good, solid women's match. It's painting the picture for the SmackDown Divas. Oh, I mean women's division. So like I'm okay with it. I like that everybody got a little bit of time. It wasn't a real long match, but I was okay with it. It was a good showcase for Nikki Bella's return. The fact that like right before she delivered the cutter, she's like, I'm back, and then cut. Like I thought that was pretty cool, and I'm still confused whether or not she's a face or heel. I really don't know, but I'm kind of digging it. I'm digging it.
Yeah, Cedric.
I'll give it a C minus. I think even the commentators did mention that that they were kind of surprised that she was coming back to the other team and not the face team. One of them did. I'm not sure. Who was it? They're SmackDown, right? So it was either JBL or or Saxton, is it? No, not Saxton. Who's the other person? Morrow,
Otunga.
JBL,
David Otunga.
Otan. Yeah, I think David was the one that mentioned it.
He
It
might
was
be
like,
one of the
it's kind
worst
of weird.
commentators of all time, but continue.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it was an okay match. Nice to see her come back. I'm actually happy to see her come back. Kind of scared me a little bit when she ripped the shirt out. I'm like, oh my gosh. But for a second there,
I
but
might have I think I would prefer Jeff Harvey, the guy who did that announcing over David Otunga.
but
Yeah.
all in all, it was an okay match. Nothing to really complain about. Everybody showcased their entries, their nice intros, which I think is really weird to see all that neon green. But I think my TV almost crapped out. But
Yeah,
it
I about
was,
went into epilepsy when Naomi came
Yeah,
out.
Naomi's entrance is something.
yeah, it's something that's for sure. Alexa Bliss, the whole hand thing. My daughter was like, "Why is she doing that?" I'm like, I have no idea. I think it worked better on NXT. But all in all, it was a good match. I'm glad to see Nikki have a new move. I know she herself said that she was training a lot with Daniel Bryan, and that Daniel was actually gonna pick out a new finishing move for her. So it's gonna be good. She was missed. People might not admit it, but I think she was missed, and you could tell in that match.
All right, so Finn Balor defeats Seth Rollins after, of course, tearing his labrum and then continuing on in the match. 19 minutes, 24 seconds. He won the Universal Championship. What'd you think of this one, Cedric?
That's one ugly title. That's the first thing I gotta say.
I actually
It,
didn't mind it that much. I mean,
it
I didn't think it was that bad, but
I think it's an ugly title. Well,
do you guys
my initial.
do you guys remember Super Nintendo? So
Yeah.
there was a game called Maximum Carnage. It was a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, I remember.
It had a red cartridge that was like
Yep.
exactly the same color as that belt, and it just made me think of that game as soon as I seen it. It's one of my favorite games of all time, so I'm okay with the title. Continue on.
Okay, I'm gonna try not to repeat myself because I've listened to the podcast before and I think I do repeat myself too much. First of all, to me, this whole every title looking the same except different color, that to me is just like laziness. One of the things that I liked about the titles before was each title was different. The Intercontinental, thank goodness it's still different. The U.S. title, thank goodness it's still different. But that's what I'm saying. Each title was different. The heavyweight titles, the world heavyweight title, WWE title, whatever it was, tag team titles, they all were different. If we were to go where the women's title, the WWE world title, and now the Universal title are the same style, except it's a different color. So that to me, I'm not buying so much into it. Especially like you said, now they're trying to sell it as one up from the actual WWE title. Then bring something different. All right, that's it. Enough rant. The match itself, is an A minus type match. I think it was that good. I'm kind of upset at the fact that they wasted the Demon coming out on Raw, because it really didn't give me that flair seeing him come out again on the network special. But that's not here nor there. I think it was a really good match. I think it's sad to find out that Finn actually got hurt because the kid had potential. I think there was so many matches as him as the champion, or so many matches already being booked that I can't wait till he comes back really. And I don't know what you guys think, but that move in a world where if a move hurts too many people, people start talking about banning it. They banned the curb stomp for crying out loud, and I don't know who got hurt because of it. I think this one they're gonna have to start thinking about it a little bit because now you have a Sting who may or may not after Seth getting hurt during the match. I think that's a move they're gonna start thinking about something with it, either missing it or doing some. I'm not or banning it altogether. I don't know. But I was happy to see him pull out his Tyler Black finishing move in Ring of Honor. That was pretty cool. Good match.
So the only thing I'd say is in the instances of the people getting hurt, I don't think any of them were really his fault though. Like Sting even said, that it wasn't his fault. The way he took the move, Sting said he took the move incorrectly. It wasn't Seth's fault. And then with this one, Finn didn't trust where Seth threw him, and he actually looked back and he moved his arm to try to catch himself. So I don't know, kind of a weird one because in some ways that wasn't really Seth's fault.
It's no ding on Seth, but it's more on the move more than anything. You know what I mean? If I know Hawk has mentioned moves that have almost hurt other folks when it comes to other wrestlers. We've talked about this offline. So the same day one might apply with somebody else, we have to apply with Seth as well. It might not be him per se. It might just be the move. If the person's not trusting enough on the move or trusting enough on the wrestler executing the move, that's the biggest thing. You got to trust either the move or the wrestler that's executing the move.
Yeah.
And if that's not happening, that might be one thing to think about. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be banned immediately, but it's something to think about. Can we keep doing this? That's why maybe the Undertaker's the only one still doing a variation of a power driver tombstone, because people still trust him. But even him at his age, I would start thinking about trusting him too much with the tombstone anymore. But like I said, it was just a great match. I love Finn just playing the part of the demon with his looks, his moveset, his body language. It was amazing. And Seth is just an incredible wrestler. He has the look, he has the moves. That 5-star frog splash was freaking amazing, to say the least. So, and like I said, it was nice seeing him do his move when he was Tyler Black, and even the commentators acknowledging, I haven't seen him do this move since years ago. So
Yeah.
it was a really good match, really, really good match.
All right, Hawkster, what do you think?
All right. Well, I'm just going to get something off my chest here real quick. And Cedric, I apologize if I'm spitting in your oatmeal by saying this, but fans, shut the hell up about this freaking title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've talked about title prestige in the past many a time. And I've always been, it's the man that makes a title, not the title that makes a man. So who effing cares about what it looks like? If you're not happy with the all red everything movement, whatever, I don't give a crap. Because Brooklyn ruined this match for me.
Yeah.
Like, I literally muted the match after about the first 5 minutes because I just couldn't handle the chanting anymore. And once I muted the match, everything was just fantastic. Like, these guys really just tore into each other, and they gave everything in this match. And I loved it. The buckle bomb on the outside. Sure, the buckle bomb is a dangerous move. I get it, but yeah, I mean there was a little bit of a trust factor there with Finn. I think if he would have just took the hit, he probably would have been okay. You can see him reaching back, and you can see it pop out as soon as he hit. And accidents happen. Shit happens. You just wipe your ass and move on. But how awesome was it to see Finn Balor grab his arm and literally pop his shoulder back into place to continue with the match? To me, that was so badass. Like that to me is what screams athleticism, legitimacy in professional wrestling. That these guys can take badass punishment and keep going. And man, the frog splash was fantastic. I don't even know what Seth Rollins called that move that he did, that he used to do when he was Tyler Black. But oh my gosh, that was just so freaking crazy. The Phoenix splash, freaking Finn Balor coming back with the hesitation dropkick, multiple drop kicks, and the coup de grace at the very end. It was just, oh man, this was just a great match. I have to give this a solid A. I'm not going to give it an A+ because of Brooklyn. Dudes, shut the hell up about the title. And God, you really ruined that match for me. And I mean, Seth went on Twitter afterwards and even shot a thing out there. But but man, like the match was great. They sold and delivered on what was promised, and I dug it.
Yeah, what were they chanting again?
It was a little
They, they,
inaudible, but it was just
this belt
bitching out
sucks.
about the red, like ugly, ugly, something like that.
They were
Yeah,
saying
I,
this belt sucks, and I think Mick Foley wrote something about that actually Finn for 1 second thought that they were saying Baylor sucks, but they were saying the belt sucks. The belt sucks. And for 1 second, I guess Finn it was kind of like messing with his mind, but then he just like say, you know what, F it. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And you're not spitting on my oatmeal, man. I love oatmeal with a little bit of spit, but anyway, that's not here nor there.
Add a little protein.
Me me thinking that a belt is ugly, man, is not gonna take away from the wrestler. It's not gonna take away from whatever the belt signifies. You know what I'm saying? I just think the belt is ugly, but I'm not gonna not watch a match. And sorry for the rant. And I think I've done more than one this episode. Fans, you pay to go watch a match, and you will have the right to say whatever you guys want to say. But when you guys just want to take over the match, when you want to be the primary superstar in a match, that's when I have a problem. You don't have to exercise every right that you have. You know what I'm saying? It might be your right, but you don't have to exercise it. And when you forget about the match just to yell stupid stuff, that's my problem. And I actually like the fact that Mick Foley wrote his little essay, article, whatever you want to call it, on his Facebook page discussing it, because it's just watch the match, enjoy the match. Don't These guys are giving it their all for you, and you're just wondering about the belt. That was my problem.
yeah,
Yeah, agreed.
I like how Mick talked about how nasty the belt was that he carried around, you know,
Yeah,
and
the hardcore championship.
how
Yep.
it smelled. Well, no, he was talking about the world champ when he won the world title.
Oh
He,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The beer. Yeah.
it smelled like just stale, nasty beer and just stunk, and but he was like he was so proud to carry it. And just to me, it's things like that I guess just mean a lot that people outside the business obviously can't. They never had that feeling or that sensation. Maybe some of these guys have never won a championship or have never in their life, and they just don't know. They've just never been there, I guess. But this was an A- match for me. Thought it was a very good match. The crowd I did have issues with it. And then not only that, but I thought that I guess it makes a lot of sense now though, because I kind of thought the match was worked a little bit different. I thought that Finn doesn't do a lot of lifting moves anyway, so I think it worked out okay for him. But knowing, to me, it's even better knowing the fact that he was hurt, finished that match, and it happened in the beginning of the match. He basically went probably 12, 13 minutes with a severely injured shoulder. And so yeah, I think that's something that just is a testament to them, and was glad that they were able to do that. So, you guys have
By the
anything
way,
else on this match?
the
Last
finishing
thing I
move.
want to say. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
my
Go
bad.
ahead, Cedric. Go ahead.
I was gonna let you know the finishing move is called God's Last Gift. They're probably not
God's
gonna
last
call it
gift.
that on
Yeah.
WWE, but that's what it is. They might call it the small package driver.
I would say it's a package pile driver, right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because that was Kevin Owens' finisher, but they don't let him use it.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Well, his was.
Kevin Owens is a pile driver. This was a fisherman buster
Oh,
suplex
with the
turned into a small package.
okay.
So they call it
That's
a
Yeah.
small package driver, but
that's right.
in Ring of Honor it was called God's Last Gift.
Yeah, because again, my son, he's amazing. He's 10. He goes, "Hey, I think that was a small package buster."
That's basically what it was. Yeah.
And I said, "Very good, son." Yeah, but
Yeah.
dude, that
But
kid's
the last thing I want to say is regarding Finn Balor's injury, the labrum. For you guys that don't know, and the only reason I knew this is because my dad had this very similar injury when he played baseball.
doctor.
But the labrum is a very, very deep interior muscle that it is a very freak thing to hurt that. So the fact that he had that injury and was able to work through it really is a testament to how tough these guys are.
All right. Well, we all enjoyed the match, so that's good. I'm gonna skip the Roman Rusev. Obviously, we don't need to give it a rating.
There was no match.
Yeah, there was no match. So just
This is
your
weird too.
your thoughts on the segment?
I liked the fact that Rusev just went after him and just beat the crap out of him. If they would have ended that way, I would have been perfectly okay with it. But the fact that they had to give, Roman the rub at the end was just like, okay, whatever. Next. Thanks for showing me a Raw segment.
Cedric?
The spear though, man, holy
Oh,
crap!
yeah,
That
he hit him.
spear though. I'm sorry, but that spear was just hellacious. Like the way Rusev's head bounced off the floor. Jeez, that was one hellacious spear though, and I just it felt it felt real to me. Damn it, they you could just feel the hatred between these two. Good on Rusev, even though he's a heel, he's defending his wife. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't hate the man for doing that. He cut a really good promo as well, just reminding everybody, I am the greatest damn U.S. champion you guys have ever had. And just like the Miz claims that his title is the number one title, Rusev's doing the same thing. So good on them for trying to put that kind of prestige and level of respect to the title. I can't hate these guys for doing that. But
Yeah, it's real hard to root for Reigns and boo Rusev in this feud.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Reigns
is
definitely more the heel in this one.
So I really appreciated Rusev. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really appreciated Rusev and what he did, and even when he came back all hurt, that they said, look, he can't compete. When he saw Reigns, he was ready to throw down, but unfortunately that spear was just hellacious though, man. And I can't wait, man. You've always said it, Rasquash. Reigns might not be the most likable character, but he does have a presence, a look, and a moveset, and these two can definitely have magic when they get together. And cake,
Yeah,
but
cake.
that's not here nor there.
You can have your cake and eat it too. But
Lana ate cake.
It was better than pie. But all right, so I almost thought we were seeing a double turn. Honestly,
It did kind of feel that way, yeah.
With
Especially
the way,
when
I'll say with the way Rusev was selling the rib injury, and like just the look and just sheer pain on his face, like while he was selling it. Then the poor bastard barely gets to his feet, is hobbling his ass back to the back, and then here comes Roman Reigns running, full speed down the ramp, hits him with a Goldberg style spear out on the floor, and then poor Rusev's just laying there. I mean, it's like, Roman, dude, you already broke his ribs. You have to come back out and spear him? What for? You had literally no reason to do it from the get-go. And so to me, it was just like, I don't really know what to say. And then even when you look on Monday Night Raw the night after, and you have Rusev out there in his match, even in that match, I felt bad for him. But it was just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I've been feeling bad for the guy personally.
They should have just picked up Lana and taken it away. Then we really would have felt bad for the guy.
well, I just looked at it as like, okay, the guy beat you up in the beginning, but you can't see the logic as to why he did that. You freaking made him knock his own wife into cake. You interrupted the whole thing to come out to try to get this match, and then the match is over, so you've got no reason whatsoever to be out there. Yeah, he kicked you around a little bit. As a man, I'd have to say, yeah, I kind of get that. I deserve that. So then you kind of hurt him because you defended yourself, but then you go in the back, and you know the guy can barely stand, and then you're going to come out and put more punishment on him. If you're trying to book Roman as a face at all, that made no sense. If you book him as a tweener, even then that's sort of weird, because you basically hit a defenseless. You basically speared a defenseless person. Because
kudos to Lana too for explaining what you just said about defending the wife's honor, stuff like that.
Yeah, and it just, to me, it's one of those things where it's like, how am I supposed to like Roman after that happened?
Mm-hmm.
This would be the perfect time to give Roman a wife beater gimmick. I mean, he speared Stephanie at WrestleMania for no reason, and now he's freaking pushing Lana into cake and interrupting their wedding celebration.
He didn't push her. Technically, he pushed Rusev, who ran into Lana, who hit the cake.
Oh, he knew what he was doing.
So I don't know if it's just like this drunk uncle character that he's playing, drunk Uncle Roman, or whatever it is. But oh my God,
Drunk Roman.
Yeah, Drunkle Roman. I like it. And I think if he switched to like the Luke Harper style wife beater,
Yeah.
and he just came out and started putting work on people and carrying around like a brown bag.
While he's drinking.
Yeah, I think we could do some work with it. Why not?
That
But
would go with the straggly beard he's starting to get too.
well, he shaved that off for the match. Remember?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, it was a good look for him. I like the rugged, raggedy.
thought he was
kinda
going
look
like
there, yeah.
straight up. Thought he was going straight up Mongolian for a minute with that thing. But
Rugged, raggedy
Believe
Roman
that.
Reigns.
all right, so that brings us to the grand finale, the main event. Brock Lesnar defeating Randy Orton by technical knockout. You don't see that very often. 11 minutes, 45 seconds. Now, this got crapped on all over the internet, not only for the ending, but also for what happened. There's another thing I'm going to talk about that's involved in this as well. But first of all, your guys' thoughts on this match. Either of you can start.
Oh man. Like, it's hard to remember anything prior to that elbow.
It was basic. Okay, I'll sum it up for
That
you.
elbow, though.
I'll sum it up for you. It was Suplex City, out to the floor. Randy Orton hits an RKO. Lesnar goes to get in the ring. Randy drops Lesnar on his head. Then Lesnar gets in the ring. Randy tries to hit him with another RKO, and then Lesnar goes apeshit and wins.
Yeah. This blurs the lines for kayfabe for me, and I don't know. Like, this is a match that I just did not know how to react during this match. If this is the way that they truly booked it, like, this is like Brock Lesnar is just something completely different from anything else that you're going to see in WWE. And I think we already knew that, but if they really booked this match to end this way, like, it's just one of those like shock factor kind of things. If they didn't book this match to go this way, and Randy Orton just decided, you know what, I'm going to kick out of the F5, and that pissed off Brock Lesnar because he's Brock Lesnar and he's going to do what he wants, and he just full mounts him and just freaking ground and pounds the crap out of him. Like, you can see, like, there was no blading that I saw.
No, it was.
But you can
it was an
see
elbow strike.
where that tip of the elbow nails him, and you can just see blood splot everywhere, and it just continues to profusely just plop, 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 plop. And oh my gosh, like, my wife got sick. Like, she got up and left the room, and she wouldn't watch anymore. I'm just sitting there like, really? Like, it was just jaw dropping. Like, it was disturbing to watch. And up until that, yeah, the Suplex City and the counting out, that was all fine and dandy. You know, that's what you pay to see for when you pay to see Brock Lesnar. You know, you pay to see the suplexes and the RKO on the table. Like, all right, yeah, Randy has a chance. All right, cool. You know, this isn't going to be just a squash match like last SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar. You know, this is actually going to be a match. And then he kicks out of the F5. Brock Lesnar goes apeshit, and yeah, it was just hard to watch that end. I mean, say what you will, I know there was a lot of confusion among the wrestlers too, whether they thought it was real or not. You know, Shane McMahon coming out for the save and taking the hit, cool. But then you hear about the backstage confrontation between Jericho and Lesnar that Vince McMahon and Triple H had to step in on. Mm-hmm. And if you read some of that, Triple H was on Jericho's side, Vince McMahon was on Brock Lesnar's side. So it's one of those, like, I really don't know what happened. And before I get into any more, I'll leave some last final thoughts and let you guys talk about what you thought about this first.
All right. Did you have a rating for the match?
No. Like, how could you rate this? Like, it was bloody carnage. Like, this was not a wrestling match. This was This was utter destruction. This was humiliation. Like I can't rate this.
Huge show. All right. Cedric, what do you think?
Well, I stayed away from the internet. I love reading different websites to see what's going on behind the stage, behind the curtain. And I've stayed away from it. So if you guys, after we're done recording, if you guys want to explain to me what happened with the whole Jericho, please do.
Well, I'm about to when it's my turn.
Okay, okay. Just staying on the match. I'm gonna give this match a C minus, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is
And I'm gonna
I'm not
tell you
sure.
why.
I'm not sure if this is the second, third, or fourth network special in a row that is a high profile network special that is sold mainly on a match, and to me the match does not deliver. I'm sorry for what I'm gonna say. I think no, I'm not sorry actually. I think Brock Lesnar. I understand how Suplex City thing behind it, and we've talked about this before. I wouldn't mind seeing him add one or two more moves, even if they're just strictly MMA moves, since he is the beast, the MMA guy, and all that nonsense, or just one or two more wrestling moves. Because just Suplex City and that's it to me. It's just not. It's getting to a point where it's just not enough. That's just my opinion. At first it was, not anymore. The whole Paul Heyman in the back, calling them. I don't know. That to me just doesn't do it anymore. Add a little bit more to your move set. But I do understand you are this beast. So just add one or two more power moves, man, and that would be enough for me. Uh, I thought there was gonna be more to it. To be honest with you, they did sell this so big with between him and Randy, and I was left with desiring more. That DDT though, hellacious DDT that he gave Brock Lesnar. Afterwards, the angle showed that he didn't even hit the mat, but I don't care. It just the way it was sold, I really liked it. If that was a blade, dude, that was not a blade. That was a damn samurai sword, and I want to know where the hell Randy was keeping that thing, because when they showed that gash was just ridiculous, and it was so obvious that it was on purpose. There wasn't it was a mistake. It was so on purpose. Afterwards, every single ground and pound hit was not even touching him. Like the hits were not even touching him at all. So I'm not sure if they discussed this, if it was a mistake. I don't know what in the world happened there. And to see the match end that way, I was just like, what in the world? Like, seriously? So I don't know what to think about it. And I think my biggest anger is that they sold it 15 years in the making, and the way that it ended was like, are you kidding me? Because that's going to take a while for that to heal, to even try to have a rematch between these two. So I think it's like maybe the third pay-per-view network special in a row that gets sold on something that does not deliver. That's why I'm upset. But did the match have a few good moves? It did. Those suplex cities, though, I'm not sure if Randy wasn't selling them, but it took a lot of strength out of Brock to throw him over. But they look like they hurt like crazy. But all in all,
yeah, I think Randy was sandbagging him. But
I felt like he was just like putting extra weight. You know what I mean? Like, there's been wrestlers that have been criticized in the past for not helping or assisting the other wrestler into selling a move. It really felt like he was just putting all his weight and I think one of the commentators said that he was trying to like block it. It's what he used.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, nah, man. I think that he's really like not helping him. He's just becoming dead weight. But kudos on Brock for being that strong and still being able to throw him over. But the way it ended was just so weird to me. I was like, whoa, what the hell just happened? Like, that elbow was so on point.
Yeah.
And then even when Brock like rubbed his elbow that they showed it, I'm like, dude, that guy has like it's like a weapon. It's just, so I don't know what to think about it. I would like to know more behind the story. Like what was the thinking behind this end?
Well, I'm about to lay something out for you, and then you can give your comment after. So,
okay.
This is the backstage report. Jericho, the rest of the guys are watching the match in the back. He sees Orton get busted open, so Jericho goes to gorilla position. So he's standing up at gorilla position. He asks Michael Hayes, hey, is that what was supposed to happen? Michael Hayes no-sells him, won't talk to him. So Jericho says, hey, this is bullshit, so he needs to tell me what the hell's going on. And right when he says that, Lesnar, I guess, comes through the curtain back there. They have a confrontation backstage, which escalates to the point of Triple H and Vince having to step in. Apparently, Vince said that was the way the match was supposed to go. That is what was planned. That is what they were supposed to execute. But Triple H said he felt like Brock was trying to escalate the situation with Chris, and didn't know even what the hell Chris was talking about when he walked in the back. And am I forgetting anything, Coxter? But I mean that's the report in a nutshell. Is that
that's exactly what I read.
It was a work from the beginning, and the end. It was for Randy Orton to lose by TKO, but obviously not to get busted open to the degree that he did. I think that was an accident. I don't think Brock was supposed to bust him open hard way. But
so Mr. McMahon, Mr. known throughout the years being anti-bleeding in a match, was okay with maybe not to the extreme that it happened, but he was okay with this kind of ending where there was the potential that Brock was going to elbow Randy, probably split him open.
I think it was supposed to knock him out.
Probably like hit him like in the temple, maybe not so much on the top of the head.
In the match, I think it was supposed to knock him out, and he wins by technical knockout. But I think Brock, just trying to do what he needed to do, make it look good, and I think he sliced him open. Now, me watching the match, a few things to take notice. Number one, Randy was sandbagging him in the beginning. You could tell Brock really wasn't too thrilled about that. Then, usually, Randy waits a little while before he does that DDT off the second rope. He only let Brock get about halfway in and then just basically dropped him right on his head.
I noticed that.
And Lesnar looked legitimately stunned, like, for a second after that happened. He gets up, they do a little bit, and then those gloves come off. So, this is where, to me, I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't there. I don't know what was talked about, but sometimes a part of me wonders if Brock got pissed off and said, you know what, screw it. I'm bust this dude open. And he obviously was super soft on the punches after those elbows. And you could tell the work in punches and that he wasn't trying to hurt Randy after that point. But yeah, I don't know. That's the report. That's the report from backstage that somebody had given out. Does that change your opinion on anything?
Yeah, it doesn't change my opinion whatsoever.
You read it, but yeah, you were questioning if it was supposed to end that way or whatever. But that's the report.
No, I completely get the TKO ending. I get that, but the strikes themselves, and it goes into what I was saying earlier. And we're talking about the evolution of kayfabe, where even the smart marks, are legitimately like, what in the world's going on? And this is going to lead me into another conspiracy that I actually just watched last week right before SummerSlam, and I don't know exactly when this took place. You guys may or may not have seen this, but Heyman, to jump on the Paul Heyman hustle bandwagon here, he's during this press conference, and they're talking about Brock Lesnar and Undertaker. When Brock beat the streak, and he's saying, who's to say that the streak was supposed to end that night? Who's to say that Brock Lesnar, being the conqueror, being the baddest man on the planet, just didn't decide during the match that, you know what, I'm going to beat the shit out of this old man, and I'm going to pin him for real. Because who's going to fire me after I beat the streak? Who's going to send me away after I just beat the longest reigning streak in sports entertainment, the greatest streak in WrestleMania history? Who's going to fire me after that? So I feel like Brock Lesnar is kind of in that untouchable type moment. And again, as you mentioned during that match, there's some legitimate heat between Lesnar and Orton. I don't think they may respect what each other does, but as far as on a personal level, I don't think they like each other at all. And you could see that from Orton, because he didn't jump 1 inch on any of those suplexes. And Brock truly had to muscle every single one of those German suplexes. I think it was 6 or 7. And, the spike in the head, and you can see it when he pulled the gloves off. And even after the kick out of the F5, who's to say that the match wasn't supposed to end after the F5, And Randy just said, fuck it, excuse my language, my bad, kids at home, I'm sorry. Bad word from the Hulkmaster. But who's to say it wasn't supposed to end that way? Randy said, no, I want to go a little longer. I want to give this guys a little bit more show. And, because those first 2-3 elbows, those were legit UFC, I'm going to crack your skull open elbows. And, sure, the blood perfuses. Lesnar starts getting, okay, all right, hold on, I need to slow it down here. And the rest after that was a sell and a work. But who's to say that he didn't just get pissed off at Randy for sandbagging him and just cut him open? Because especially after Randy just came back, first big match after being gone for so long, and that happens to him. Maybe a little bit of a work, maybe a little bit of a shoot. This is the new kayfabe that we're entering, where we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I was left legitimately baffled, and my wife was disgusted, and still to this day is disgusted about it, because she says, you can't have someone who is trained, to fight in an MMA ring, and she's like, what if he snapped? Like, what if he did lose control even for a second, and he cut open Randy in that match? Like, how do you put him in a ring with anybody after that, if that's what happened, And I know it bothered her a lot. But Cedric, based on what you hear then about this backstage report, does that change anything?
Nah, man. I just find it weird that this was the ending they wanted to give it. You know what I'm saying? It just, you build the SummerSlam more on that match than the Universal title, then Dean Ambrose and Ziggler, then AJ and John Cena. The ending was just weird. The match didn't last long. The ending definitely was quite weird, and it just surprises me that even Mr. McMahon would even agree to this. That's how much the man is more about the business. That he's willing to tell his moneymaker, because that's what Brock has become. Brock has making some good money out of the WWE, but the WWE is also benefiting off of him. You know what I'm saying? So I find it really intriguing that this was the ending that they wanted. Maybe not so much how hurt Randy was, because that was quite a gash, man. There's a picture online. They cleaned them up and they showed it. I was like, damn, that's gonna take That's gonna take a while to heal up, man. That will take a while to heal up, because you don't want him to get any hit there. Potentially will open it up again. So I just found it a little bit weird. It was a little bit weird match, and I think we've all overly discussed it. We all pretty much noticed little things here and there that kind of make it seem that there was some reality behind this, because it was weird. I was kind of hoping me personally, I was kind of hoping an actual match, like he's had with Taker, Cena, H, the folks that Brock has fought. It was just weird the way it ended. But let's see what happens from this point on, man. WWE still has a lot to do with this man, and Brock Lesnar definitely has still a lot to give back before he finally calls it quit. So,
well, I just want to say kudos to Chris Jericho, because I don't know too many guys who are just gonna stand up and get in Brock Lesnar's face and accept an ass whooping. Because I'll be honest with you, Chris Jericho ain't beating up Brock Lesnar anytime soon. But I appreciated that as from a story perspective and all that, if that's what happened.
Even Paul Heyman looked worried in the outside.
And I remember him yelling like, "What the hell are you doing?" He's yelling at Brock. But so, all right, well, kind of.
Before we're done, I'm sorry. What do you guys think about the whole Shane McMahon taking the F5 and not really selling it too much, because he kind of got up pretty quick?
Well, I think
why was he even there in the first place?
Well, I think that was probably part of the whole deal.
Okay.
So it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if Lesnar and Shane McMahon are going to do something down the road.
That's what I thought too. Oh my God.
It wouldn't surprise me, and it would have to be the craziest shit you've ever seen. If that's, I mean, because what is he going to do? I mean, Brock solidly beat The Undertaker 3 times, essentially. I mean, the one he did lose, but it was a fluky thing. Otherwise, he beat Undertaker in all 3 of those matches, really. And Shane was no match for The Undertaker in that match, so it makes me wonder, like, if this did happen, what is the stipulation? Does one of them have to physically die?
I'm going to take a page out of good old JR's playbook and say, oh my God, that man has a family.
Yeah, something. But we know Brock Lesnar doesn't care about your kids. So,
Thanks, Heath.
So, final grade, real quick. We're over 2 hours in this already, and I do go to work in the morning. So, final grade here on SummerSlam. Cedric?
I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B. Not a B minus. I'll stay with a B. There
Huckster?
were some good points and some bad points.
Card placement aside, I'm going to give it a B+.
I'm right there with you. I think B plus is a good rating for it. Had 2 really outstanding matches on it, and nothing that was really terrible outside of really I didn't have any of them under a C. Actually, just the only match I think I rated poorly was the Gallows and Anderson match. Other than that, so the New Day match. Other than that, good solid pay-per-view all around. So, you guys got any last things before we go ahead and end the podcast and release the listeners for another week?
Yeah, Cedric, you need to watch SmackDown from this week.
Okay.
I know we've been crapping on SmackDown since the brand split,
It's been good.
but SmackDown's getting pretty damn good. SmackDown is getting pretty damn good.
SmackDown, Raw, and some CWC, and then I'll go to bed.
All right. Well, enjoy the CWC 2. It's a pretty good episode. Get to see some more of Zack Sabre Jr. And so, I guess, hope you enjoyed our review of SummerSlam 2016. And until next time, court is adjourned. Hello, wrestling lads and lasses. You are listening to King Rasquatch.
You're listening to the Wise Old Owl of Wrestling.
Hello, this is Mr. Outstanding.
And we are
Jobber's Court.
Jobber's Court.
Jobbers Court. That's right, Jobbers Court. We're a podcast for wrestling fans, old and new.
So why settle for just another outstanding podcast when you can listen to a outstanding podcast?
Boys and girls, be ready to learn, because class is in session.
Exclusively on the W2M Network.